Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next game in the 1987 American League Strat-O-Matic Super Advanced Replay. You might be wondering why I am playing this at a very weird time. We are expected to get 6 to 10 inches of snow where I'm at. So my manager already told me it was a good idea to go ahead and take a lot of this unused PTO that I had built up. So I am taking today off and tomorrow off. So I might have to shovel some snow later, but right now it is Strat-O-Matic time, a good time to do it. Snow's not even here yet, but it's coming. It's any hour now it's going to start coming. And where I'm at in central Virginia, we are expected to get 6 to 10 inches of snow throughout the afternoon, the evening, and tomorrow morning. So that's why I'm on here now. All right, the game we have scheduled, first game on the April 28th docket, it is the Minnesota Twins taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. And a good pitching matchup, Frank Viola for the Twins against Jim Clancy for the Blue Jays. So let's get everything in place. And before I start, I did go ahead and manually write down the standings after the April 27th games. So these are the current, hello, Highlight, how you doing? These are the current standings after all the games, the 3 games from April 27th were finished and input in the computer. These are the exact standings. So right now you have Minnesota at 8 and 11, trying to get themselves going, and Toronto 12 and 6, 2 games back of Milwaukee. So it's an important game for both teams. Minnesota has to start making up some ground on Oakland, but Toronto would like to keep pace with Milwaukee as well. So there are the standings. And let me get I got my coffee, obviously, because it's, what, 9:41 a.m. on a Wednesday morning. So I got to have my coffee. That's mandatory. All right. Got our dice, and I'm pretty much, like I said, content with using these color combinations because they seem to work well. I'm not going to worry too much about team colors. All right, so Clancy and Viola. Clancy enters the game 3 and 1. Viola enters the game 2 and 2. Ballpark effects for the exhibition stadium. Home runs 1 to 9 for both lefties and righties. I'm sorry, singles are 1 to 9 lefties and righties. Home runs 1 to 11 lefties and righties. Again, Toronto 12 and 6, Minnesota 8 and 11. Pitcher catcher hold quotient, Clancy -2 as he's a +1, but DeWillis is a -3 for a -2. Viola's a -5, but Nieto's a +2, so he gets a -3 quotient. Wild pitch rating for Clancy's a 10, balk's a 2. Viola wild pitch 1, balk a 2. So, and Nieto has no pass ball rating, and DeWillis has a 3 pass ball rating. So look at our lineups. Randy Bush in right, Lombardozzi at second, Puckett in center, Herbeck at first, Gaetti at third, Smalley the DH, Bernansky in left, Gagne at short, and Nieto the catcher for Minnesota. For Toronto, Fernandez at short against the lefty Garth Orge is at third base and not Mullenix. Mosby in center, Bell in left, Barfield in right, Upshaw at first, and with the left-hander on the mound, McGriff sits and Fielder is the DH. Same thing with DeWillis. They sit Ernie Witt and DeWillis is catching, and then Sharperson is at second base. One note, I was looking at some of the pitcher, particularly the bullpen usage for some of these teams, and I noticed that for the Twins, Jeff Reardon has not pitched in a week. So Jeff Reardon will pitch in this game regardless of the score. He will at least get 1 inning because he's got to get some work in. Even if Viola's pitching a shutout, unless he's pitching a no-hitter, he's coming out after 8 innings if he gets to that point. But we will have Reardon in at some point. I just don't know when. All right, so let's see. Maybe I have too much light on here, so let's dim some of this overhead, take some of the glare off perhaps. And hopefully this will make things look a little bit better. All right, so Jim Clancy, and I do have, of course, the game on the Strat computer as usual, so I can read off the stats as we go. So Clancy's 3 and 1 with a 3.38 earned run average, 27 innings pitched, 27 hits, 9 walks, and 21 strikeouts. And Randy Bird and Hand Bush will lead things off for the Twins. Bush is hitting 271, a homer, and 6 runs driven in. And we're underway from Exhibition Stadium. 5-8 against the left-hander is a strikeout. So Clancy starts the game the way he would like it to, with a strikeout. And Bush is gone. That brings up second baseman Steve Lombardozzi. And Al Newman kind of split time. Today it's Lombardozzi. He's hitting .311, 1 homer and 5 driven in. That's a 4-8, right-hander, 4-8. That's trouble. 1-8. It's a double, but that's a 14, so he catches a break. It's a fly to left, and George Bell puts it away. So 2 down for Kirby Puckett. And Puckett on the replay is hitting .278, 2 homers, 6 runs driven in. 4-6, and that's going to be a 2-out walk to Kirby Puckett. So Puckett draws the walk. To get the lead, he needs a 4 through 6, 4, 5, or 6 to get him the lead. He does not get it, so he will hold. So Puckett will be held on, but he can't get the lead, so he's going to stand pat. I just dropped. There it is. I dropped my red D6 and didn't see it. So Puckett is on. He is being held, but he's not going anywhere because he can't get the good lead. And that brings up Kent Herbeck. He's hitting .304, 5 homers, 14 driven in. 4-6 to the lefties, another walk. So back-to-back walks by Clancy after the first 2 were retired. And now he finds himself in a minor pickle as Gary Gaetti is at the plate in a clutch situation. And in the clutch, Gary Gaetti gains 2 hits, 1 on 3-9 and 1 on 3-10. So he's good in the clutch. He's hitting .276, 3 homers, 14 driven in. So Gaetti up there to try to put the Twins in the lead early. 6-7, ground ball, second base X. Second base, well, Puckett was being held at second base by the second baseman, Sharperson. So he drops to a 5. So Sharperson now, his range is horrible. It's now a 5. 5 and an 8. I know that's going to be a hit. Just a matter of if it's 2 bases. Probably SI2 most likely. Let's look at it. 8. Nope, it's an SI1. SI1. So 1 base advancement is going to load the bases, but we're checking for an error. He is an E23. So 11 and 17 are your error checks. And no error there, but it will be a single. It's going to load the bases. Just 1 star, though. So the bases are full after the first 2 are out. Gaetti keeps the train moving, and DH Roy Smalley is your batter. Clancy trying to get out of this. Smalley, .234, no homers, 8 runs driven in. Still a clutch situation, but Smalley loses a clutch hit on the 1-7 result. That's a 1, so Clancy's wild pitch rating is a 10. He could wild pitch in the first run of the game. He does not. It's blocked by DeWillis, so keeps everything in front of him. And here's Smalley. 212 for Smalley is a ballpark single check. It's 1-9, but that's a 13. He's going to foul out to DeWillis to end the inning. So Smalley fails in the clutch, and the Twins leave him loaded. So we go to the bottom of the first. It is Minnesota nothing, and Toronto coming to bat, and Minnesota misses a golden opportunity to take the early lead. So Frank Viola is on the mound. He is 2-2 with a .256 earned run average, 32 innings pitched, 21 hits, 8 walks, and 19 strikeouts. So Tony Fernandez, shortstop, will lead off. He's hitting .338, no homers and 3 driven in. 6-3, switch hitter batting right-handed is a ballpark single check. 1-9. That is a 9. It's a base hit for Tony Fernandez. He uses the home cooking to get the base hit. Viola is a -3 quotient, but it would still be a 1-13 if he got the lead, so they're going to try for it. 6 or a 7 gets him the lead. 7 gets him the lead, so he's going to go. 18, 2 for being held is a 16, -3, there's a 13. 1-13, he's going to go. And he's in there. Stolen base for Fernandez. So Fernandez gets the stolen base. And for Fernandez, that is his second stolen base of the season. He's doing what a leadoff hitter is supposed to do. He singles and steals second. Can't ask for much more than that from your leadoff guy. And that's going to bring up Garth Orge, second baseman, right-handed platoon part of the, third baseman, right-handed platoon along with Rance Mullenix, but against the lefty Viola, they're going with the righty Orge. Orge in limited duty is hitting .143. He's actually 2 for 14 with a double. No homers and 2 driven in. But he doesn't get as much playing time because he don't face that many lefties. 4-9, and that's going to be a walk. So Viola in trouble early. First 2 are on, and now the big boys are coming up. Lloyd Mosby, followed by Bell and Barfield. So here's Viola to Mosby. 5-6, and that is a strikeout. Big strikeout there for Frank Viola. Gets the first out. That'll bring up George Bell, infield playing for the double play. They are not holding Fernandez on first. They want to keep their range as wide as possible, so they will not hold Fernandez on second base. Bell hitting .268, 6 homers, 20 driven in. 4-7, and that's a ground ball second base X, so it's a good thing they weren't holding him on because that means Lombardozzi's going to keep his full 2 rating. He would have went to a 3 had they been holding him on, but he's going to keep the 2 rating. And that could be the difference in a double play or no double play. But a 2 and a 7 might be interesting anyway. 2 and a 7 is a G2, but had we been a 3 and a 7, that would have gotten through for a base hit with that pound. So by not holding the runner on second, he was able to get to that. It's going to be a force play, his only chance. And his error rating is an 18. He's got to avoid 3, 13, and 18, which he does. So it's going to be a 4-6 fielder's choice for out number 2. Going to third is Fernandez, and safe at first is George Bell. But had they been playing holding the runners, that would have gotten through for a base hit. So at least short term, that move paid off. And here's Jesse Barfield with 2 outs and runners on the corners. George Bell is not going to be held on. So Barfield is up, and Barfield is hitting .310, 5 homers, 19 driven in. 6-6 against Viola is a fly to left field, and that's going to end the inning. So Toronto comes close to scoring, as did Minnesota in the first, but both teams come away empty-handed, and we have a no-score first inning. And sometimes with these better pitchers, if you don't get them early, you don't get them. So they may have escaped some rough outings and maybe settle in. Here's Clancy. He's back out to face Tom Brunansky. Brunansky's hitting .281, 3 homers, 8 driven in. Hello, Brian B. 3-2, and that is a ballpark single check, 1-9. That is a 9. It's a base hit for Brunansky. No, Brian, she stays downstairs pretty much all the time now. So she's almost 13 years old, so I'm not sure. I don't think the steps give her a problem, but I just think since with the whole dynamic that has changed, she pretty much is more comfortable downstairs. So it's just what she does. All right. So Brunansky will be held, but he won't try to get the lead because he gets caught stealing automatically on an 8 and a 12. So they're going to hold Brunansky there. He will be held on because if you don't hold him on, he gets the lead automatically. You got to hold him on. So here's Greg Gagne hitting .319, 2 homers and 6 driven in. Nothing on the havoc. Here's Clancy's pitch to Gagne. 6-5, and that's a fly to center. Hauled in by Mosby, 1 away. And in case you came in late, Brian, the reason why I'm playing this is that we're expected to get 6 to 10 inches of snow here. And so I have an encouragement of my boss. He told me I've got a lot of unused PTO, so why not take it? So that's what I'm doing. So I'm taking it for today and tomorrow. So I'm planning on doing a lot of strat, hopefully. Shall see. Here's Tom Nieto. Nieto is hitting .250, no homers and 2 driven in. That's a 1. So Clancy's wild pitch rating is a 10. So he could uncork a wild pitch. And he does. It's going to be a wild pitch. It's going to move Brunansky into scoring position. With 1 out. And now a base hit might get the Twins on the board. 2-7 for Nieto, but he struck him out. Big strikeout there for Clancy. And for Clancy, that is strikeout number 2. Now we flip the order over to Randy Bush. He struck out his first chance, but he's in a clutch situation. And in the clutch, Bush gains a hit on a 3-10 and a 3-3. So he gets 2 extra hits. So above average on the clutch, obviously. 4-9, and that's going to be a trouble. 1-3 is a triple. 4-20. I'm sorry, 1-3 is a triple. 4-20 is a double. That's a 3. That'll be a triple for Randy Bush. The rare triple. Bounce around that AstroTurf. Brunansky comes in, and the Twins lead 1-0. If you look at the forecast, Brian, for where I'm at near Petersburg, Virginia, we're supposed to get 6 to 10 inches starting shortly. It hasn't started yet, but it's starting shortly. It's going to snow all into the night, into the next morning. So Richmond is supposed to get 2 to 6, but we're in southern end. Southern eastern Virginia doesn't get more. So we're on the 6 to 10 line. So we'll see. They forecast one thing. Sometimes they can overblow it, but you never know. All right, here's Lombardozzi. I don't have to go anywhere, so I don't care. As long as the power doesn't go out. And it's supposed to be light, fluffy snow, so it shouldn't have any, nothing icing or anything like that to lose power, hopefully. Knock on wood. 5-8 for Clancy is a strikeout to end the inning, but the triple from Bush puts the Twins in the lead 1-0 as we go to the bottom of the second. So, yeah, I would normally be at work right now. This is a very rare thing to do, to be playing a game like this when it's not a holiday or a weekend. To play this time of day is very, very rare. But I'll take advantage of it. So Viola going to face Willie Upshaw, and Upshaw on the replay is hitting 200. He's been struggling. In 70 at-bats, he's only hitting 200. No home runs, 6 runs batted in. 211, and he's going to line out to first. So Twins are playing well without Upshaw getting off to a good start. So once he gets it going, then they'll really start playing well, you would think. And somebody that's playing way better than what he should be is Cecil Fielder. He's hitting 476 and 21 at-bats with 6 home runs and 14 runs batted in. So in 21 at-bats, he's got 6 home runs. That's amazing. 110, and that's a ballpark single check. That's an 8, so it'll be a base hit for Cecil Fielder, and that average just goes up further. He will not be held, obviously. Not going to try to go anywhere. So Jeff DeWillis, the catcher, uncarded player, so I have this printout card. He only had 25 at-bats in real world. So far, he's had 8 at-bats. He is 1 for 8, a $1.25 average, no homers or runs batted in. 1 again for Viola, but his wild pitch rating is only a 1. So there's no wild pitch there. So here's a pitch to DeWillis. That's a 6-7 against Viola, and that's a strikeout. Second strikeout for Viola. And that'll take us to the number 9 hitter, Mike Sharperson. Sharperson on the replay is hitting 193, no homers, 5 driven in. Nothing on the havoc. Fielder still at first. Whoop, that red die didn't go through. Let's redo that again. 112 against the lefty is a split chance. 1-10 is a single. 11-20 lines a short. That's an 11. So Sharperson will line it to short to end the inning. And the Blue Jays come away empty-handed. After 2 complete, it is Minnesota 1 and Toronto nothing. And this could have very well been the real world ALCS, because the Blue Jays were right there with the Tigers at the end of the season. So Kirby Puckett will lead it off. He walked and was stranded at third base in his first time up. 6-10, and that's going to be a catcher X. So DeWillis is a 4, but nobody's on base, so it shouldn't have any problems. 4 and 18 is going to be a ground out. Now we check for an error. He is an E16, so he does have some error chances here. Right at the bottom of the page, all these numbers are possible error chances. That is an 11. Let's see, E16. There's no 11 on the E16, so he will make the play. It's a 2-3 ground out as he throws Puckett out. So DeWillis got lucky there, not hitting one of those error numbers. That'll bring up Herbeck. 4-10, and that's an in-home run chance. He does have normal power, 1-7, but that's an 8, so it'll be a double. Herbeck won't get the dinger, but he will get the double. And now he's in scoring position with 1 out for Gary Gaetti. So Gaetti singled his first time up. Herbeck not being held at second. 5-5, and that is a fly ball right field C. So since it is a C, the runners cannot move up. Herbeck will stay put at second base. So 2 down, Roy Smalley, clutch situation. Smalley once again will lose a single on a, we'll lose a hit on a 1-7. That's his only clutch factor. Get a 5-6 instead, and that's a strikeout. So that's going to end the inning. That is the third strikeout for Clancy. Minnesota comes away empty-handed. Score still 1-0 as we go to the bottom of the third. And the top of the order coming up for the Jays. It'll be Fernandez, Orge, and Mosby against Viola. Hello, Kenyon. How you doing? Fernandez singled, stole second, was stranded at third in his first at bat. 6-10 against Viola is a fly ball center field X. That's Puckett. He's a 1, so you know he's going to get to it. Just the E6. Just the E6 to look at. So we'll look at a center fielder error on an E6. And we're looking at 4, 3, 15, and 18. 4, 3, 15, and 18. And that is a 14, not a 15. So he's going to sneak by. He is definitely going to sneak by. Had that on an E6, had that been a 15, that would have been an error, but that's only a 14. So Puckett will make the catch to retire Fernandez. 1 away, and it's going to bring up Garth Clockwork Orge. He walked and was erased on the fielder's choice back in the first inning. 4-9 against Viola. He's going to walk again. So Viola has walked 2, and both have been Orge. Orge, of course, will not try to go anywhere. And Lloyd Mosby will step to the plate. Mosby struck out his first chance. Orge not being held. 1-2, lefty on lefty is a ground ball second base A. That's a 4-6-3 double play. Turned by Lombardozzi and Gagne. And that's going to end the inning. So 3 innings are in the books. Still 1-0. So Viola is holding this powerful Blue Jay lineup to 1 run. Clancy back out. Both pitchers have 7 for their fatigue, so there's no way are they retired. Hey, Jeremiah, how you doing? I've got the nice cardboard X charts, but for video purposes, I can fit them in the thing. I'm using the old paper ones, but I've got the cardboard ones when I play offline that make it very, very nice. All right, here's Bernansky. Singled and scored. First time up. 5-4, and that's a fly ball center field X. That's going to be Mosby. He's a 1. You know he's going to get to it. It's just the E7. We just had the E6 check for Puckett, so now we're checking E7. E7 is 3, 4, 15, 17, and 18. And that's a 9, so good play for Mosby. He will handle that easily and retire Bernansky 1 away. And that'll send up Greg Gagne. 5-7 for Gagne is a strikeout. Clancy with the K. And for Clancy, that is his third strikeout of the game. Oh, I put it in the wrong spot, didn't I? Got confused there and put it under George Bell when it should have been under Gagne. So actually for Clancy, that is strikeout number 5. Clancy has 5 strikeouts. So here is Nieto. Speaking of strikeouts, he struck out his first time up, 6-8. He'll walk this time. So 2-out walk to Nieto, who will not be held, obviously. And here's Randy Bush. Yeah, the high here is going to be like 23. It's not going to get very much. Same with tomorrow. So whatever snow falls, it ain't melting. It's not going anywhere until Friday. Friday will be in the 40s, but it's going to be down the teens at night and in the low 20s during the day. But Friday afternoon, it's supposed to be in the low 40s with sunshine, so that should help with the melting process. It's supposed to be a fluffy, light snow, so it shouldn't be hard to clear the driveway. Might even be able to do it with a broom or a blower or something rather than an actual shovel, although we'll shovel if we have to. All right, so Bush is up. 4-5, and that is a strikeout. So Clancy again, strikeout number 6 in 4 innings for Clancy. He just made that one mistake pitch, giving up a triple to Bush the last time. Other than that, we'd have a scoreless game right now. So we're going to the bottom of the 4th. Viola back out. We'll be facing Bell, Barfield, and Upshaw against the left-hander Viola. Bell hit into a fielder's choice. First chance. 5-7, and that is a ground ball to short, and that's going to be Gagne. He's a 2. 2 and a 5. I think he's still okay with that. Double check it. 2 and a 5 should be at least a G2, I would imagine. 2 and a 5 actually is a G3. There's a pound there, but he's not holding anybody on. There's nobody on base to hold. So the G3 is good. He's an E24. So he's got to avoid 4, 6, and then 15, 17, and 18. And he does. That's a 10. So it's a good play for Gagne. And they retire Bell. 1 away, and that's going to send up Jesse Barfield. Flew to left his first chance. 5-7. Another ground ball. Same exact play. Going right back to Gagne again. 6. We know he's going to get to it. Got to avoid those same numbers on the error chances. That's a 7, so that's good all day long. On the E24, there is no 7. There's a 6, but no 7, so it's good play. Back-to-back ground outs to Gagne. 2 quick outs for Willie Upshaw, the struggling Willie Upshaw. 6-11. Ground ball back to Viola. He's an E17 with a range of 3. 3 and a 9 probably is going to be okay. 3 and a 9 is a G3. That's good enough. He's an E17. So he has to avoid 3, 6, 11, 12, and 17. And he does, barely. That's an 8, but he's good enough. Not pretty, but got it done. And the inning's over. We played 4 here in Toronto. It's still 1-0 Twins. Hello, Mr. Gudeman. Good to see you. Since you came, I guess I'm assuming you just got here. The reason why I'm even playing this, Mr. Gudeman, is because we're set to get 6 to 10 inches of snow here in Central Virginia. And so I've got a lot of unused paid time off. And my boss said, why don't you go ahead and take today and tomorrow off? Stay out of the snow. Use up some of your PTO that we're trying to get you to use up anyway. And so it was a perfect marriage, and that's what's going on. So that's why I'm playing. Normally I'd be at work this time of day, but that's why I'm playing now. All right, so here is Mr. Lombardozzi. He is 0 for 2, flew to left and struck out. 1-0 Twins in the 5th. 4-3, and that's a ballpark single check, 1-9, but that's an 11. So that's going to be a line out to third base, and I'm using Mr. Guterman's suggestion where instead of having so many line outs to short, let's mix it up a bit. We're going to line it to third instead, just so the shortstop doesn't get so many putouts. Try to even things out a bit. Here's Kirby Puckett. 5-5, and that's a fly ball to right field. Barfield puts it away, 2 down. So good pitcher's duel to this point, and here's Kent Herbeck. Doubled his last chance, 6-7, and that's a 1-8 single, line to second on a 9-20. That's a liner, so it lines it to second to end the inning. 3 up and 3 down go the Twins. Go the bottom of the fifth, still 1-0 Minnesota. The triple by Bush in the second inning has held up. And Viola continues to impress on the mound for the Twins. Cecil Fielder for the Jays. And Fielder with the base hit he just got in the second inning. He's now hitting 500. He's 11 for 22, and 6 of those 11 hits have been home runs. So just incredible early start for Cecil Fielder. 2-9, and he's going to do it again. Look at that ballpark blast, 1-11. That is an 11. That is long, and that is gone. If I was doing robbing home runs, this would be a perfect time to do it because we're right on the cusp of the ballpark thing, but we're not. I haven't started that the whole season, so I'm not going to start now. So Cecil Fielder, home run number 7, RBIs number 15. He's got 7 home runs and 23 at bats. Simply amazing. It's got to average out, you would think, later on at some point. But the Jays have tied the game with Cecil Fielder's 7th home run. Look at it again. 2-9 against the lefty is the ballpark blast. It's an 11, and that is an 11. So Cecil Fielder getting it done. Here's Jeff DeWillis. Now in a 1-1 game. And for DeWillis, that's a 4-9, and that'll be a walk. So Viola walks the weak-hitting DeWillis. Not a good thing to do. And here is Sharperson. DeWillis not going to be held. Havoc roll, nothing happening. Sharperson. 112, and that's a split chance on the super advanced. 1-10 is a single. 11-20 is a liner to short. That is a liner to short. And they record the first out of the inning. Back to the top of the order for Tony Fernandez. Hello, World's Worst. Good to see you. Nothing on the Havoc. Fernandez, 1 for 2. 111 against the lefty. He's going to get hit by the pitch. So Viola plunks him. And that's going to put 2 on with only 1 out. And Garth Clockwork Orge, chance to get something done. 3-10, and that is a fly to center field. That's 2 down. DeWillis does not run well at all. It runs at a 10, and Puckett's a -4 arm, so there's no thoughts at all for DeWillis trying to take third base on that. They are not crazy. Going to hold him there, and maybe Lloyd Mosby can get it done. In the clutch, Lloyd Mosby against the left-handers, because this is a clutch situation. He loses a single on 3-9. That's the only clutch result he has. So he's got to avoid a 3-9 to not be anti-clutch. That's a 2-5, and he will fly to center, and that's going to end the inning anyway. But they tie it on the Cecil Fielder home run, and at the end of 5 innings, it is tied 1 apiece here at the Exhibition Stadium in Toronto. Jim Clancy back out now in a brand new ball game, 1-1. This is game number 131 of 1,000 and whatever it is for the whole thing. So we got a long way to go, but I have had no time limit. So here's Gary Gaetti. He will lead off. He's 1 for 2. 6-6, and that's a strikeout for Clancy. Yet another one. That now is 7 strikeouts for Jim Clancy. There was a dot there, but of course he hasn't reached the fatigue inning yet. Here's Smalley. He's 0 for 2. 3-4, and that's a ground ball to first. And Upshaw will take it to the bag himself. 2 up and 2 down very quickly for Tom Brunansky. Singled and fly to center. 5-4. It's a fly ball to center again with the next chance. Mosby is a 1, so you know he's going to get to it. We just need to roll for an error. And on the E7 for an out for a center fielder. Center fielder E7. Center fielder E7. He's got to avoid 3, 4, 15, 17, and 18. 3, 4, 15, 17, and 18. And that's a 5. We got a rare play. So now we got to roll the D20 to see what the rare play is, whether it's an F1, F2, whatever. So on a 1 and a 12, 1 and a 12 is an F2. So we got an F2 rare play. So F2 rare play, fly out. If there's a runner on third, he scores. A runner on second may tag up. I'm sorry, I need a rare play. The outfielder catches the fly ball for an out. All right, so that's the third out of the inning. So it doesn't really matter at that point. Nothing else will cover anything. That's just going to be a fly out to center field. So the rare play is not in vogue because nobody's on base. It's the third out of the inning. And what they're saying is there would have been a play where a guy was out on an appeal play, but none of that comes into play because there was nobody on base. So it ends up just being a simple fly out to center field. And we don't have to go through any of the rigmarole of the rare play. All right, bottom of the 6th we go, 1-1, still the score. Who is going to flinch first is the question. Viola facing the heart of the order, Bell, Barfield, and Upshaw, with Mr. Fielder looming large in the background. 3-9 against the lefty. Ground ball to Gaetti at third. 1 away. So 1 down, and that will send up Jesse Barfield. He's 0 for 2. 5-5 is a ground ball to second. Lombardozzi handles it without any issues. 2 up and 2 down. And here comes Upshaw. 0 for 2. 4-10, and that's a strikeout. So now he's 0 for 3. So 3 up and 3 down go the Jays. We go to the 7th. Still 1-1, and this is the 7th inning coming up, which means this is a fatigue inning for both pitchers. Their fatigue check will begin now, as they both have 7s on their card. So due up for the Twins, it'll be Gagne, Nieto, and Bush. And now that we're in the 7th inning, pinch hitting can start coming into play if the Twins or the Blue Jays decide to do it. 6-9, and that's a 1-14 single. That's a 16, though, so he's going to line it to short. 1 away. 1 down, and that brings up Nieto. Nieto is struck out and walked. 6-6, and he's going to strike out again. There's a dot there, but he's not tired. He hasn't given up anything against his point of weakness. He's got full endurance still going. And here's Bush. He struck out twice, but he also had a key RBI triple in the second. 2-6 for Bush, and he's going to ground it to second, and that's going to end the inning. So Clancy will keep full endurance into the 8th as he gave up nothing. And we're at the 7th inning stretch here in Toronto. Score still tied at 1 apiece. And since we're at the 7th inning stretch, I will give my own cheap plug for the next game in the replay. And that will be from Kansas City. It'll be the Baltimore Orioles against the Kansas City Royals. Mike Boddicker against Danny Jackson. So that will be the game. Next game in this replay, game number 132. Right now we're still at game 131. And Viola coming out with his fatigue inning and looming as the first batter he has to face. It is the big Cecil Fielder hitting .522 now with 7 home runs and 15 runs driven in and just 23 at bats. 5-10 catcher. Boy, 5-6 would have been, 5-11 would have been disaster, but 5-10's a catcher X, and that is Nieto. He's a 2. 2 and a 9. Let's go to the catcher results. 2 and a 9 is going to be a P/F, but nobody's on base, so it's just a foul out, assuming there's no error. So Nieto is an E1. The only way he makes an error is on a 17. So without a 17, we just have a foul out. And that's what we have. So fielder's going to foul out to Nieto. 1 away, and that's a big bullet for Viola to get through. Here's DeWillis. Now, do they pinch hit for DeWillis is the question. Because, like I said, we're at that part of the game where pinch hitting will be allowed. They could pinch hit for DeWillis and bring in Ernie Witt to catch. The only right-hander they have on the bench is Kelly Gruber, but he hits 235 versus the 120 for DeWillis. So DeWillis will depart, and Kelly Gruber is going to come on and pinch hit. And then Ernie Witt will stay in the game to catch after that. So Gruber, the pinch hitter, here in the 7th. And then Witt will catch in the 8th. So, Jeff, what you talking about DeWillis is now out of the ball game. And Kelly Gruber will give it a go. Make that change on the computer. Gruber on the replay checks in at 387 and 31 at bats, 3 homers, 8 runs driven in. So definitely an upgrade. Hello, Marlon. Good to see you. 5-2 against Viola is a ground ball back to Viola. So unfortunately for Gruber, that didn't help because it didn't come off his own card. He got off of Viola's card. DeWillis is probably saying, hey, I could have done that myself. And he could have technically because it came off Viola's card, but you don't know that when you roll the dice. So Ernie Witt will stay in the game to play catcher. Here's Sharperson. 2 outs, base is cleared. 1-3 is a ground ball to Gagne, and that's going to end the inning. So now both pitchers continue full endurance into the 8th as we're still at a 1-1 standstill. So Ernie Witt will come in the game to catch. So you don't know maybe if obviously it's not the swing strat, but in real baseball, when you get that pitcher-catcher chemistry going and now you've brought in a new catcher, that could, possibly affect the pitcher, but we'll see. And remember, like I said, Jeff Reardon has not pitched in over a week, so he's pitching this game regardless. He will find a way to get into this game. So at some point, don't know when, but he will be the first guy out of the bullpen for the Twins. Whether they're up or down, he will be the first guy. All right, so here is Lombardozzi. And let's see, do they pinch hit for Lombardozzi? That's a possibility. 238 hitter, I would think you'd want to pinch hit for him. So Lombardozzi is being called back. And let's see who's going to come in and pinch hit. It's going to be, well, they don't have any good lefties off. The only lefty they have off the bench is one of their backup catchers, Salas. He's actually not bad, a 250 hitter. So we're going to bring in Mark Salas to pinch hit. And then Al Newman will come on and play second base. So Salas will do the pinch hitting here in the 8th. And then Newman will take over at second base in the 8th. All right, so Salas, let's bring him into the ball game on the computer. Kind of multitasking here, doing these switches both on the cards and dice and on the computer. So Salas is coming in for Lombardozzi. On the replay, Salas in just 15 at-bats is hitting a .133, no homers and 1 run driven in, but he is left-handed. So we're playing the percentages. 6-3, ground ball first base C, it doesn't help. Upshaw will flip it to Clancy, 3-1 put out if you're scoring at home, and you certainly know that's almost a requirement to view the channel to score at home. All right, here's Kirby Puckett. 5-7 against Clancy. That's a strikeout. So the pitching duel continues. 2 down now for Herbeck. All it takes is one swing of the bat, though, to put somebody in the lead. 2-5, and what did I say? One swing of the bat. 2-5, a home run, 1-14. That is a 14. It's gone. Kent Herbeck just blasted a solo shot off of Clancy. And for Herbeck, that is home run number 6 on the season, RBI number 15. Look at it again. 2-5. 2-5 for Herbeck. Home run, 1-14. That is a 14. So Kent Herbeck gets it done. And Gary Gaetti now up. So Jeff Reardon is now loosening the bullpen, but Viola's pitching well, so they might not bring him out, but they're going to have him on the standby either way you go. Here's Gaetti, 3-9, and Gaetti flies to left to end the inning, but the important home run from Herbeck gives the Twins a 2-1 lead as we go to the bottom of the 8th, and now we need to bring in Al Newman to play second base on the computer, so we keep track of that. Al Newman is the new second baseman, and Newman is a 3E10, so not quite as good as Lombardozzi, who's a 218. He's a 3E10. His error rating is down, but his range is not quite as good. So it's a trade-off there. So Viola is up. Ideally, the Twins would like to have Viola pitch the 8th and then have Reardon pitch the 9th to finish it off, but we'll see what happens. Tony Fernandez will lead it off. He is 1 for 2, singled and was hit by a pitch. Hello, Mr. Jester. Yes, Mr. Jester, in case you, obviously you came in late, so we are scheduled to get 6 to 10 inches of snow here in Central Virginia, so, and my 3/4 part-time, full-time job in semi-retirement is a driver. And so my boss told me, you got a lot of PTO unused, so go ahead and use some. So I'm using PTO today and tomorrow and not have to worry about the snow. So here's Fernandez, 5'7", switch hitter, ground ball shortstop X. That is Gagne. He's a 2. 2 and a 1. That's going to get through for a base hit. So even Gagne can't prevent that when you get a 1 down there. 2 and a 1 is an SI1. Shortstop 24 for the error. It's got to avoid 4, 6, 15, 17, and 18. And that's a 15. So that'll be a 1-base error to add insult to injury. That E24 for Gagne will produce a single and a 1-base error. So Tony Fernandez will single and then go to second base on the E6. Now that is not Viola's fault, but he's paying the price for it. So the error on on Gagne, as he Gagne with the spoon on that one. And Fernandez is on second base, and here's Garth Orge. Richmond is only supposed to get 2 to 4 inches, but I'm further south near Petersburg, and we're supposed to get 6 to 10. So hasn't even started snowing yet, but it's supposed to start. Actually, I'm looking out the window, and the flurries have just started. So it just started snowing, but it's supposed to snow all through the night and into tomorrow. So I am staying put. Got my hot coffee. Got all the food we need from the store, so nothing to worry about. Good time to roll some dice. All right, Frank Viola now pitching to Orge. 2-7, and that's a line out to second base. Boy, you hit it hard, but right at Mr. Newman, the new second baseman. 1 away, and here's Mosby. And Reardon is ready in the bullpen. They may be bringing Reardon in when we get to Bell and Barfield, because Viola looking like he might be starting to fade a little bit. Trying to hit some balls hard off of him. Pitch to Mosby, 4-7. That's a walk, so that's going to do it right there for Viola. His day is done. Tom Kelly says, I've seen enough. I can tell that you're fading. And so we're going to the bullpen for Jeff Reardon, who hasn't pitched in a week, so he's well rested. And he's looking to try to get the 5-out save. Jeff Reardon. Can't do the totals on Viola yet because the runners on base are his responsibility. He could win it and he could lose it, or he could get a no decision. All kinds of possibilities. Reardon on the replay. Today's the 28th on the schedule. He hasn't pitched since the 21st of April. He is 0-0 with 2 saves, 2.45 earned run average. He's only pitched 4 innings all year. 5 hits, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. And he's got to deal with George Bell, the right-hander. So righty on righty matchup. And Reardon looking to get it done right here, because a lot of times the save doesn't occur in the 9th inning. It occurs in the 8th inning. So the pressure situation is now you need your best, and that's what they've got out there is their best, or at least allegedly their best, statistically their best. So now Reardon facing George Bell, who was 0 for 3. 6-3, and that's a ground ball first base sec to Herbeck. Herbeck is a 2, not responsible for holding anybody on, so he keeps that 2 rating. 2 and a 4, though, that could be problematic. 2 and a 4 is a G3, so there's a pound sign there, but he's not holding any runners on, so the G3 is still going to be good. Just means runners will advance. He's an E6. He's got to avoid 3, 13, and 18. Huge fielding play here. And he gets a 13. What the hell is going on? He's an E6, and right here a 13 is right there as an E1. So the Twins have committed 2 errors this inning. And now the bases are loaded with only 1 out. So the usually sure fielding Kent Herbeck blows it with that 13 on the super advanced fielding. And now Jesse Barfield is up. Jesse Barfield facing Reardon with the bases loaded and only 1 out. Infield looking for the double play. They're looking to turn that double play. 2-8, and that's a strikeout for Reardon, a huge one, as the bases remain loaded with 2 outs. And now we're in definitely a clutch situation for the struggling Willie Upshaw, but he is left-handed, and he's got a good track record, so we're staying in there. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Clutch situation for Upshaw, and in the clutch, he loses a hit on 3-10. So that's his only clutch factor. 4-3 against Reardon. Ground ball first base sector will give Kent Herbeck another chance to redeem himself. 2 and a 2. He may not be able to do it. In fact, he will not be able to do it. A 2 and a 2 for Herbeck is a single 1 star. We're going to tie the game. E6 again, trying to avoid that 13. And he barely does with a 12, but it's going to be a base hit. Everybody's going to move up a base. It's an unearned run. That run is charged to Viola. So Viola cannot win it. He can still lose it potentially. We are now tied at 2 here in the 8th. And who's coming up but Cecil Fielder, the last guy Minnesota's looking to see with the bases loaded. Fielder hitting 500 now, and even 500, 12 for 24 with 7 home runs out of those 12 hits. And Reardon, pressure cooker situation. 1-7 struck him out as a huge strikeout for Reardon, and that's going to get Viola off the hook with a no decision. So we played 8, and we're tied at a run apiece. We go to the 9th, and for the Blue Jays, that will be all for Jim Clancy. He will be done. So let's go ahead and get the totals on both the starting pitchers now that the inning has been cleared. We can go to Strat Computer and get those updated totals. Let's see. Viola goes 7 1/3, 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned, walked 4, struck out 3. Clancy went 8 innings, 4 hits and a run. Why is it showing a run? All right, something didn't go right. For some reason it didn't record what I wanted to record here. So let's go back and see where the mistake came from. On this computer, it didn't register something or other. So let's go back. I got to recreate the whole top of the 8th now because something got screwed up. I know RJL would be sitting there saying this doesn't happen on other channels, but when you're trying to multitask with the card and dice and the computer at the same time and try to broadcast, there's a lot of multitasking going on. The snow is really coming down good now, so I'm sure we're in for a little bit of it, to say the least. So let's get all the way back to the top of the 8th. All right, Salas. All right, that was where Lombardozzi was. Okay, so Salas is pinch hitting. Grounds out pitcher to first. Puckett strikes out. Then Herbeck homers. I don't know why it didn't register that. Then a fly to left, so that ends that. Then we bring in Newman to play second. All right, and then the bottom half of the inning, Fernandez leads off with a single, and he gets to second base on an E6, first of 2 errors for the Twins. This one on Gagne. Then Orge lines to second. Then Mosby walks, and that's where they had enough of Viola, so they bring in Reardon. And Reardon comes on. And the first batter grounds to Herbeck, who commits the error, which loads the bases. Strikes out Barfield. But then a failed range play on Herbeck allows the run to score to tie the game. Then he strikes out Fielder. Okay, now I can get the updated pitching stats to be correct. Let's get everything in play here. All right, Clancy 5 hits and 2 runs. They were earned 3 walks and 9 strikeouts for Clancy. So coming in will be Tom Hinkie to pitch for the Blue Jays here in the top of the 9th of a 2-2 tie. And we'll get the numbers on Hinkie. And he's had a few days off, so he's well rested. Hinkie 0-1 with 3 saves. His ERA is 9, though. In 5 innings, he's given up 9 hits, 1 walk, and 3 strikeouts. So he has not been the Tom Hinkie you're used to seeing, but he's the best you got. So you're bringing him in to face Smalley, Bernansky, and Gagne. Yes, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. All right. Of course, it just started, so nothing's on the ground yet. It's just falling, but with the temperatures in the low 20s, it's not going to take long to stick. All right. Roy Smalley will lead off against Hinkie. Top of the 9th, tied at 2. 2 runs, 5 hits, 2 errors for the Twins. 2 runs, 5 hits, and 2 errors for the Blue Jays. Or no errors for the Blue Jays, rather. 6-6 Smalley against Hinkie is a strikeout. So Hinkie gets the K. And that's going to bring in Bernansky. $1-9 for Bernansky is a walk. Now the question is, do you bring in a pinch runner for Bernansky? Although he runs pretty decently. Hinkie's hold is a 0. Ernie Witt is the new catcher. He's a 0 arm, so it'd be a 0 factor. If he got the lead, it'd be a 1-13, but he gets caught stealing on an 8 or a 12, so they're going to hold him there. And we'll go with Gagne. Hinkie to Gagne. $6-8 for Hinkie is another strikeout. So now it is Tom Nieto still going. They have the backup one of the backup catchers, Tim Laudner, still on the bench. They've already used Salas as a pinch hitter, but they do have Laudner. but you like to keep him in reserve just in case something happens. So Nieto will bat 4-11. Fly ball left field X, that is George Bell. And Bell is a 2. 2 and a 6, he'll get to that. It'll be the third out of the inning, assuming there's no error. Bell, though, is an E13, so he's got to avoid 4, 6, 12, 15, and 17. And that's a 14, and I said he was an E13. E13, there is no 14, so it's good play for Bell, and that'll do it for the Twins. So Hinkie pitches a scoreless ninth. And we go to the bottom of the ninth. Reardon will be facing Ernie Witt, Sharperson, and Fernandez. This will be Witt's first at bat since coming in for DeWillis. So Witt on the replay is hitting .250, 1 homer, 7 driven in. 5-8, and that is a ballpark blast for Ernie Witt. 1-11, that's a 17 though. So he hits it deep, but not deep enough. Caught out there by the right fielder, Randy Bush, right at the track. So Witt got under it just a bit, couldn't get it out. 1 down for Sharperson. We could be looking at extra innings this morning. 5-7, and that is a ground ball to shortstop X. That's Gagne again. He's a 2. 2 and a 15, he'll get to it. He is an E24, so again, with the shortstop, E24. He's going to have to avoid 4, 6, 15, 17, and 18. And that's 12, so that's good enough. Ground out to short, 2 down. And we're a Tony Fernandez at bat away from going to extra innings here at Toronto. 3-10, and as they fly to right, that's going to end it. So we are going to extra innings here in Toronto. Hinkie coming back out for his second inning of work. And he'll be facing the top of the order in Randy Bush, Al Newman, and Kirby Puckett. Not sure if the Twins will come back with Reardon or not. We'll wait and see. Right now, Bush stepping to the plate against Hinkie. That's a 3-4 for Bush, and that's a ballpark single check. 1-9. That's a 13, though, so it's going to be a ground ball to first. And Upshaw will take it to the bag himself, 1 away. Brings up Al Newman, his first at bat since coming in for Lombardozzi. He's hitting a $125 and 16 at bats. 2 for 16. One of those 2 hits was a double. No homers and 1 driven in. 2-7, and he's going to line it right to the second baseman Sharperson for out number 2. And that'll send us to Kirby Puckett. 1-6 for Puckett. 1-13 is a double. That's an 8. It'll be a double for Kirby Puckett. So Puckett trying to make things happen. He will be held at second base. He is a 17 base runner, so they're going to have to hold him on. Now, Herbeck is up, and Herbeck homered his last time up. First base is open. First base is open with Gaetti coming up. So, unconventional move. They will walk Herbeck intentionally and take on the right-hander Gaetti. Sometimes you don't want to put guys on base that's going to add runs to the score, but you're playing the percentages to get this third out. So they have walked Herbeck intentionally, and they're pitching to Gary Gaetti. Hinkie to Gaetti. Gaetti is 1 for 4. 6-7, and that's a ground ball shortstop X. That is Fernandez. He's a 1. You know he's going to get to it. We'll see if it's going to be a force play or G3 or whatever. 16 is going to be a G1, so he'll go to second for the force. Now he's got to avoid the error. E17 at short and E17 at shortstop. 15, 16, and 17. Just has to avoid those 3 numbers. And he barely does with a 13, but it's a good play. It's going to be a 6-4 fielder's choice to end the inning. So the move paid off. Great managing as usual on this channel. Doesn't disappoint as Hinkie gets out of it. We go to the bottom of the 10th, and they're going to run Reardon until he gets tired. So he's going to go 3 innings most likely, or at least in 2 2/3 innings, I should say. Now, Garth Orge is your batter, but Blue Jays going to the bench, and they're going to get the left-hander Rance Mullenix. He's the platoon partner, and he plays against right-handers, so he'll be in there against Reardon. Rance Mullenix. So Mullenix will pinch hit here in the 10th and potentially play third base in the 11th. So Orge is out of there. So we'll ring on Mullenix, get his totals. That will leave McGriff and Leach as the 2 bench players remaining. So Mullenix hitting .381, no homers, 5 driven in. That is correct, ID. A lot of these other channels just on autopilot, and they don't think it out. They're not going through the strategies of baseball. They're playing checkers. We're playing chess. So here's Mullenix, 1-6, and that's a strikeout. So Mullenix is out of there. And in case you're curious, on a 1-6, Garth Orge would have singled. So who knows? But you got to play the percentages. Orge hadn't done anything all day. So here's Lloyd Mosby. 5-5, and that's a strikeout. So Reardon finishing up strong, or at least attempting to. He's got a blown save, but a lot of that wasn't his fault. There was some faulty defense. And here's George Bell. He's 0 for 4. 6-3, that's a ground ball first base X. Ground ball first base X, and that's going to be Herbeck again. He's a 1. You know he's going to get to it. It's just a matter of that error, that nasty E6 that he seems to have problems with. Got to avoid that 13 big time. And he does. So he'll field it, and he will throw it to Reardon covering for a 3-1 putout. And we go to the 11th. And coming into the game, staying in the game to play third base is Rance Mullenix. Now, what about Hinkie? Do you keep Hinkie in there? That's up for debate. That's going to be it for Reardon. He's done. He goes 2 2/3, so he's done. We can get the numbers on Reardon. Finish his totals. Reardon 2 2/3. And he's going to give up 1 hit, no runs, and no walks and 4 strikeouts. So a solid outing for Jeff Reardon. Hinkie has gone 2 innings. So he'll be subject to fatigue coming up shortly, but do they stick with him, or do they? Boy, they're going to stick with Hinkie. They're going to stick with Hinkie and see what happens. Roy Smalley. I've got the Strat computer up, so the Strat computer will tell me when he tires. But we have Roy Smalley. In fact, I'm going to move these over here so everything fits. Starting to run out of room over there in the 11th inning. So Hinkie will be facing Smalley to start the top of the 11th. 1-8, and that's a strikeout. So Hinkie continues his good pitching. Both these guys will have to miss a game tomorrow, or in the next game on the 29th. They're going to need rest. So they're trying to milk them for as much as they can get. And they figure 2 2/3 was as much as they can get out of Reardon. And 3 innings might be the max they get out of Hinkie. Here's Brunansky, 5-7, ground ball second base X. And that is Sharperson. And again, he's a 4 E23. A little bit dangerous. 4 18, though, he'll get to it. The E23, just got to avoid that 11. And he doesn't. Look at that. Rolled 11 right on cue. How does that happen? How does it happen? E23 second baseman. The only errors are 11 and 17, and we keep rolling 11, it seems like. So it'll be an E4 on Sharperson. And that's the first error of the Blue Jays. So their defense finally shows some kink in the armor. Bernansky is at first base. He will be held, but he won't go anywhere. And here is Gagne. One chance of a wild pitch for Hinkie, and his wild pitch rating is 11. So he's got to watch out for this. 1 to 11 is a wild pitch. And it is. Wild pitch is going to move Bernansky into scoring position. That could be huge. Now the Toronto bullpen's loosening because they think Hinkie might be fading. So loosening in their bullpen. They have left-handed action. And it is Jeff Musselman, a left-hander, and Mark Eichhorn, the right-hander. Double barrel action in the Blue Jay bullpen. Hinkie trying to get through the inning, facing Gagne. 6-8, and that's a strikeout. So Hinkie gets the strikeout there. And we're in a clutch situation for Tom Nieto, but Tom Nieto's not going to hit. Tom Nieto will be pulled, and they will bring in a pinch hitter. Will the Twins. And the pinch hitter they're going to bring on is going to be, well, they got two choices basically. They're going with Mark Davidson. He's got the average at 267. So Davidson will come on. And then the new catcher will be Tim Laudner. He will take over behind the plate. But Laudner only hits a .191, so they need somebody to get a base hit to try to win the game, and that is Davidson. So Davidson will pinch hit. So Davidson pitch hits here in the 11th inning. And then Laudner will catch in the 11th. All right, so let's see what Davidson, and it's a clutch situation on top of it. Davidson on the replay is hitting 200. He's 4 for 20, 200, a homer with 1 run batted in. So we'll see if he can get it done. It's in a clutch situation. In the clutch, he does gain a hit on 3-5 and 212. So it's a good clutch hitter. So Hinkie has to be careful. That's a 111, and that's a fly to right to end the inning. So that's going to do it for the Twins. They cannot get the run across, and Laudner will stay in the game to catch. And Hinkie is done. He's going to go 3 innings. That's it for him. So we go to the bottom of the 11th, tied at 2. And Laudner being entered into the game in the computer as your catcher. So that's going to leave Dan Gladden as the only bench player remaining for the Twins. Blue Jays have McGriff and Rick Leach on their bench. And the Twins will need a new pitcher for Reardon. That's for sure. Got to figure out who they want to go with. They've got righty, lefty, righty coming up. Righty, lefty, righty, lefty again. So they may go to a left-hander out of the pen, but the only left-hander they have is Joe Klink, the Colonel. They may or may not want to do that. We'll see. Barfield will lead it off for the Jays. But who's going to come in for the Twins is the question. They may decide to go to a right-hander instead. Let's take a look at their bullpen. See who they might turn to. They've got Atherton, Berenguer, Frazier, and Klink. And they're going to go to Keith Atherton. So Atherton will come in and pitch the bottom of the 11th. On the replay, Atherton is 0-1 with 2 saves, 5.14 ERA, 14 innings pitched, 11 hits, 4 walks, and 13 strikeouts. We'll get the totals on Henke for his 3 innings of work. Henke going to only give up 1 hit, no runs, walked 2, struck out 4. So a solid outing for Henke. So bottom of the 11th we go. Barfield will lead it off against Atherton. Hello, Alex. Yes, definitely snow day baseball. And actually, I think, was it Friday is opening day at Strat. And a lot of times they have snow up there as well. Don't think they have any right now, but could be coming. You never know. Barfield, 6-11. That's a ballpark single check, which is 1-9. That's a 15, though. So that's going to be a line out to third. One away for Willie Upshaw. Upshaw against Atherton, 1-7 as a strikeout, and his struggles continue. Could be going to the 12th. But Cecil Fielder might have something to say about it. He's already homered in this game. His average is now down to 480, though, because he's been retired the last 2 at-bats. So he's dropped his average below 500. He's 12 for 25 now. Two-4, and it's a ground ball to short. That's going to end the inning. So Atherton 3 up, 3 down. We're going to the 12th, and the Blue Jays will need a new pitcher. Coming up for the Twins, it'll be Bush, Newman, and Puckett with Herbeck. So they're going to be looking at a left-hander. They got 3 out of 4 lefties coming up. So the Blue Jays will be going to a lefty out of the pen. And we'll see who they decide to turn to. Probably Musselman, but don't quote me on it. They might go to Cerruti as well. 440. Nope, they're going with Jeff Musselman. Left-hander Jeff Musselman will come on for the Blue Jays. And we'll get the numbers on Musselman. On the replay, Musselman is 0-0 with a save. He does have a 10.13 earned run average, only 5 innings pitched, 6 hits, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. But he will not face Randy Bush. He will face Dan Gladden. So the Twins, Tom Kelly going to use the last guy off the bench. Right-hander Dan Gladden will pinch hit and stay in the game to play left field, or right field rather. Actually, no, he'll go to left field, and Bernansky will go to right. That's the way they'll play that. So Gladden will pinch hit in the 12th and play left field in the 12th. So the wheels are turning in both dugouts. Randy Bush's day is done. Hello, Midlife. And I tell you, ID, you probably can relate to this. When you're a brilliant manager, managing against yourself can be tough because you always have a tough opponent. All right, so Dan Gladden will be on to pinch hit and stay in the game to play left field. We'll get the numbers on Gladden. But that's it. That's everybody's been used off the bench for the Twins now. On the replay, Gladden is hitting .323, 2 homers, 7 driven in. Against Jeff Musselman. 5-3 is a fly ball right field X. That is Barfield. He's a 1E3. You know he's going to get to it. The E3, the only problem with an E3, only chance of an error is 3, 15, and 18. And he makes the play no problem. So Barfield puts it away. Gladden is out of there. And we go to Al Newman, his second at bat. Lined out to second his first trip up. 6-7, switch hitter batting right-handed. He is a ground ball second base X. So again, Sharperson, that's where it's trouble. That 4 for Sharperson could be trouble. 4 and a 14, though, he will get to it. But again, that dastardly 11 is might get him on it's a G2 on a 4 and a 14, but that dastardly E23, that 11 seems to come up more than it should. See if he can avoid that 11. He does. This time it's a 9. So he makes the tough play for out number 2. All right, here is Kirby Puckett. Doubled his last time up. 5-6, and that's a walk, so that's going to keep the inning going. The walk to Puckett, and my score sheet's about ready to run out. Musselman's a 0 hold, so with Witt being a 0, it's also a 0 there. So if Puckett gets the lead, it'd be a 1-13. With 2 outs, you got to try to get in scoring position. So they're going to send, or at least attempt to get the lead. He needs a 4 through 6, 4, 5, or 6 to get the lead. Does not get it, so he's got to hold. And now we have Kent Herbeck, lefty on lefty matchup with Herbeck. Herbeck is 2 for 3. That's a 3-4 against the lefty. Lines out to Upshaw at first base, and we're going to the bottom of the 12th. Bottom of the 12th we go. And on the Strat computer, I got to make these adjustments. Dan Gladden will stay in the game, play left field. Brunansky will move from left field to right field. And Atherton will pitch his second inning. And he's going to be facing the top of the order for, I'm sorry, not the top of the order. He's going to be facing Witt, Sharperson, and then the top of the order, Fernandez. So Ernie Witt. Hello, Prague, if I didn't say hello to you before. Wasn't sure if I did or not. Don't want to ignore you. Here's Ernie Witt, bottom of the 12th. Tied at 2. That's a 4-8, and that's a strikeout. So Atherton strikes out Witt. 1 away for Sharperson. And we could be going to the 13th inning pretty quickly because I don't see a whole lot of offense coming up for the Jays. 6-3 is a fly ball right field X, and that's Brunansky just moved to right field from left field. So he's a 2. Tell you, switch defensive positions or go in at defense and the ball finds you. 2 and a 10, he'll get to it now. He is an E4 for Brunansky, so it shouldn't be that hard to avoid an error, you would think. On an E4, he's got to avoid 3, 4, 15, and 18. And he does with a 10. So it's a good play for Brunansky. And Sharperson flies out. 2 down. And with 2 outs and the base is clear, we're back to the top of the order for Tony Fernandez. Perhaps he could like single and steal and get something going. We don't know. Does have a stolen base in this game. 5-9, switch hitter is a fly to center. And that's going to end the inning. So we're going to the 13th. I'm out of room on my score sheet, so I'll have to score the rest of it on the computer and just tell you about it, unless I guess I can make little notations here that we're in the 13th. Unfortunately, the score sheet only goes 12 innings, so second inning of work for Jeff Musselman. That might be all for Atherton, although he's only faced 6 batters and retired them all, so he has full endurance. He can keep going. And for Musselman, he'll be facing Gaetti. It'll be a Gaetti, Smalley, and Brunansky due up against Musselman here in the top of the 13th of a 2-2 game. So Gaetti steps in 3-4. That's a ballpark single check, which is 1-9. That's a 15, though, so he's going to line it out to second base. That is out number 1. And that'll send up Roy Smalley, the DH. Twins don't have any more bench players. They got to stick with who they have now. They're stuck with them. They've used everybody. Oh, Suadice. Let's re-roll that. Smalley, a switch hitter, will turn around, bat right-handed. 6-8, and that's a strikeout. So he didn't do any better right-handed than he was doing left-handed. In fact, he has struck out the last 3 times in a row, has Roy Smalley. 2 down now, and it's all up to Bernansky. See if he can keep it going here against Musselman. 3-4, that's a pop out to second. He certainly cannot get it done. So we go to the bottom of the 13th. And Atherton going to come back out because he has not given up anything. We're facing Mosby, Bell, and Barfield, heart of the order. Mosby, Bell, and Barfield. I'm sorry, not Mosby. Mullenix. Mullenix, Mosby, and Bell. Mullenix, Mosby, and Bell are your scheduled hitters. Mullenix 0 for 1 with a strikeout. That's a 6-3. It's a fly ball right field X. We're looking at Bernansky again. He's a 2 and an E4. 2 and a 3. That could be interesting. 2 and a 3 is an SI2, so it's going to drop in for a base hit. He is an E4, so again, he has to avoid 3, 4, 15, and 18 to not add insult to injury. And he does. So it's going to be a base hit for Rance Mullenix. Single for Mullenix. Lloyd Mosby, a decent bunter with a B bunting, but if you do that, then they're going to start walking Bell and Barfield. So they're going to stick with Mosby and not bunt, just let him hit. Mullenix will not try to get the lead, not try to do anything like that. So they will stand pat. And here's Atherton with the havoc roll, nothing happening. Mosby, infield double play depth. 6-8, and that's trouble. 1 to 3 is a double, 4 to 20 is a single. It's a 5, but it's a 2-star single. So Mosby eschewing the bunt, swings away, and it pays off again. Great managing that you just don't see on that other channel. Sorry, just don't. Hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you got to tell it like it is. All right, so runners on the corners with nobody out. Infield is going to have to come in for the Twins. And actually, the outfield has to come in as well because a deep fly ball is not going to help them either. Hello, Alex. Well, you came to the right place. I can tell you that. All right, so now Atherton with the infield in and the outfield in to George Bell. 5-10 is a strikeout. Atherton with a big K. Now, if they really wanted to take a chance, they could play the infield double play depth, but Barfield's 0 for 5. He doesn't hit a lot of ground ball double play. Well, he does have some A's on there, but got some B's too. If you play back for the double play and they roll a B, boy, it really looks bad. So they're going to play the infield in. They're not going to trust the double play. They're playing the infield in. If you get the infield in, they'll at least get the runner at first, and the runner on third will have to hold. So at worst case scenario. That's a 6-9, and it doesn't matter. There's your ball game. 1 to 5 is a triple. That is a triple, but with the runner scoring, it's just going to be a single. He's not going to get the triple. He's going to get the single, and Barfield will send home the winning run with the RBI single to end this ball game. So the ball game is over in 13 innings. It is the Blue Jays with the win. As Barfield, look at it again, 6-9 here against Atherton. 1 to 5 is a triple. That is a triple, but with the runner already on third, once he scores, the game's over. So it's just a single, and they leave it at that. So the Blue Jays get the victory over the Twins. Hard-fought victory, first game of the series. Don't know what the rest of the series will be like, but we do know that Henke and Reardon will both have to miss next game, and they got to rest. So final line score. We'll do runs, hits, and errors like this. So for the Twins, 2 runs, 6 hits, and 2 errors. For the Blue Jays, 3 runs, 8 hits, and 1 error. Atherton will take the loss. He drops to 0-2. And he went 2 1/3. Gave up 3 hits and a run. No walks and 3 strikeouts. The winner is Musselman, and he is 1-0. Musselman went 2 innings, gave up nothing but a walk and a strikeout. So there you go. Let's move the dice tray out of the way. There you go. That's the final tally in the ball game. I thought about doing a doubleheader when I first sat down here, but this went 13 innings, so I kind of need a break. And so we can do the other game some other time. But in fact, what I want to do is put out the History Maker Cincinnati game that I've already played. I want to put that out as a premiere sometime shortly, maybe at noon Eastern. I'm not sure. But anyway, there you go. Hard-fought victory. Player of the game. Boy, who do you give the player of the game to? That's the question. Kind of hard to figure that one out. Hinkie did so well, 3 innings of shutout relief. So did Musselman with 2 innings of shutout relief. Blue Jay bullpen, last 5 innings, pitched 1 hit shutout. So they were in control big time. Let's see. For the Blue Jays, Fielder was 2 for 5 with his 7th home run. So he could be a candidate, certainly. Clancy pitched well, 8 innings, only giving up 2 runs. So he could be, there's a lot of candidates you could go with. So not sure who I want to give it to, but let's call it a team effort, put it that way. Blue Jays improved to 13-6. The Twins dropped to 8-12. So as we look at the standings up to the second, Toronto now 13-6, and they'll be a game. They're tied with the Yankees at a game and a half back. And Minnesota with a loss drops to a last place tie with the Angels at 7 games back. So that's where they stand right now. Twins off to that slow start, but hey, it's a long way to go. We're still just at the end of April, so long, long way to go. But that's where we're standing right now. Next game for the Strat-O-Matic in the replay will be from Kansas City. It'll be the Baltimore Orioles and the Kansas City Royals. That will be game number 132. And that'll be the next video or stream on Strat-O-Matic Super Advanced. But game number 131 is in the books, and it is Toronto squeaking out a 3-2 victory in 13 innings over the Twins. There you go, ID. Yes, get back to work, you worker. I had another name. I had another adjective, but I'll refrain from using it. But you'll be happy to know, ID, that I'm sure you've heard of it by now, but my NBC game of the week will be using Season Ticket Baseball, 1978 season. I got the printed set, so as we get into the month of March, I'm going to be refreshing my skills on Season Ticket Baseball, making up my defensive team sheets, and getting all ready to go for my Saturday afternoon Season Ticket Baseball NBC game of the week to give me a little bit of break from Strat and History Maker and give me a little bit of variety. But I got to play a few practice games. I'll probably watch some of your videos as well to get caught up. The learning curve is not too bad. I just want to make, there's a few minor things I'll need to get straight with the rules, but I think it's pretty low learning curve, so it shouldn't be too bad. So let it snow, let it snow. Snow is coming down. Hasn't stuck yet, but it won't take long. Like I said, we're forecast to get anywhere from 6 to 10 inches over the rest of the afternoon and evening. The heaviest snow is not supposed to come until almost rush hour. So right now it's just a light snow just above a flurry, a little bit more than a flurry. It's coming down regular, but not, the flakes aren't very big. And it looks like it's that powdery type, dry type snow rather than that heavy wet snow, which is good. All right, that's going to do it from here. Twins, tough luck loss. They had a 2-1 lead in the bottom of the 8th after the home run from Herbeck, but 2 errors cost them in the 8th inning, one on Gagne and one on Herbeck. And so the defense did them in. Those 2 errors were huge. The error on the Blue Jays didn't really affect them, but it affected the Twins big time. So that's going to do it from here. Hope you enjoyed the rest of your Wednesday. Until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play. I want you to enjoy that no matter what game it is. And as usual, I will see you down the road. And I might be bringing the Cincinnati Reds game on Premiere in about 45 minutes. So we'll wait and see.